is a gospel story that I can relate to, and I'm sure you know why. When I go to the grocery store, everything I want is on the top shelf. And I have to, if I can flip it down, I do, but most of the time I look around and wait for somebody to come and ask for their help to put it on the shelf. So I can relate to Zacchaeus, who is short in stature. And I know that at times when I want to see something, I'm in a crowd or something, it's frustrating not to be able to see and to be in the back. Sometimes, I'll push my way through, or some kind person will say, oh, come ahead, which is always helpful. But when I read about Zacchaeus, I think of his courage and his humility. To run ahead, and the humility that he must have had in that instant, maybe not perhaps before that, but in his desire to see Jesus. He climbs a tree. I probably wouldn't go quite that far. But what I admire about Zacchaeus is that he wasn't embarrassed to climb the tree. He was a chief tax collector. And yet he had such a desire to see Jesus, to know this man who he had heard about but had never met. So he puts himself in that position. And lo and behold, what happens? Jesus sees him. Sees him not physically, but sees the desire of his heart. And he tells him, come down, for I am coming to your house. I can't imagine what that felt for Zacchaeus, to be invited to come down and to know that Jesus wanted to spend time with him, to get to know him, and to perhaps eat with him. And I think of all the times that you and I have been invited in our lives by Jesus to come and be with him. And you come today, and you come so often to be here at Mass, to receive Jesus into your life, to hear the Word of God. And that is a true blessing. We know the challenge that is at times to do that. I know for myself, though, sometimes it's even a greater challenge to spend time with Jesus during the day. Put aside some of that busyness, the running around that I do, and to just sit and be with Jesus. I may not hear anything then, but I know that I'm filled with his presence, and when that time comes, that I'm asked to do something, then I'm given that courage that Zacchaeus had. And hopefully filled with a little more humility that is lacking in me. And so I trust that all of you too will do that as well. Today, we celebrate a memorial of a recent maid saint. She lived in the 16th century, Rose Philippine Duchesne. I don't know how many of you are familiar with her, but she lived during the French Revolution and had this vocation to enter the religious life, but couldn't until she was in her mid-30s, actually. She entered the Society of the Religious of the Sacred Heart, who was founded by Sophie Barrett. I was fortunate to have had part of my education by these nuns. And Rose Duchesne was asked by the Bishop of New Orleans to come and to serve as a missionary, and so she did. What I loved reading today, and of course I heard about her when I was with the Madams of the Sacred Heart, but she was known as the Saint Francis of their society. And if you know anything about them, you know that their schools really catered to mostly very wealthy families. But they were also very generous. And I know that Sister Rose and many others that I got to know when I was in college, that they wanted to educate everyone to the work of justice and peace. At the time I was dating my husband, who was at West Point, and yet they were having people like Philip Berrigan come in and speak to us about the Vietnam War, about civil rights. There was a lot of conflict in me because I had never heard people speak that way. So I'm grateful for that in my own life. And I realize that we're invited at times throughout our lives to be open to new things, to be open to serve and to love those who perhaps we have not known before. Perhaps we have judged in certain ways, just like the people judged Zacchaeus. And open ourselves to receive whatever it is Jesus is offering us, and listen to that voice.